And on the side, we're really excited to welcome so many of you. Kind of felt like a celebrity going past that big line to get in here. I was like, this is the cool club in town. So congrats for you guys making it in. So great to see so many of you here. Also, thank you for everyone who's joining online. I'm Kate Warren, Executive Vice President, Executive Editor at Devex. And we have a really tight packed schedule. So we really want to start off now so we have time to fit in all the amazing speakers. So appreciate if everyone can find their seat. Feel free to bring some food with you. We will have plenty of time for networking later in the day and in the close. But we are so excited to welcome you to Devex at UNGA 78. We have 2 days of really exciting programming lined up for you. Some of you might have been here this morning and yesterday, and tomorrow morning as well. We are hosting some events with our ecosystem partners. But we really couldn't do an event of this size and magnitude without our partners. So before we kick off, I would like to give a special thank you to our innovation partners. We have Abbott, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, Catholic Relief Services, Food for the Hungry, the Fred Hollows Foundation, Heifer International, Medtronics Labs, One Site Essilor Luxottica Foundation, and Open Society Foundations. We also did host some ecosystem events with our partners AstraZeneca, the Country Connector and Private Sector in Health, GSK, MSD for Mothers, New Globe, the RBM Partnership to End Malaria, and UNWFP USA. We also have our supporting partners, HIMAQ and the Task Force for Global Health. So as you can hear, a lot of supporters helping to make this event possible. So we want to give a sincere thank you. We are going to have a couple of polls throughout the day, today and tomorrow. So I do want to get you all familiar with Mentimeter. So on the screen, there should be a QR code popping up. Feel free to pull out your device. If you need Wi-Fi access, there's Wi-Fi codes around on the table. And we will be asking you some questions. And if you're joining us online, you can also participate. So we want to hear your thoughts too. We will be kicking off with our first question about what do you see as the biggest barrier to achieving the SDGs? So please share your thoughts with us and we will reveal those in a moment. But as I said, we have a really action-packed program, so I don't want to delay any further. I would like to welcome to the stage Devex President and Editor Chief Raj Kumar.
Thanks so much, Kate. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Good afternoon. Can you all hear me back there? We are going to get started. I just want to say a huge welcome to all of you in the room. It is amazing to see how many people have come out year after year for these events, and there's people still outside, I think, trying to make their way in. And the many thousands of you following along online, thank you. Great to see lots of friends in the audience. This is a different event at the UN General Assembly, not just because we have a disco ball. If you're online, you may not know this, but there is a giant disco ball in the center of the room. It's a little bit different than our usual official protocol-laden events at the UN. In fact, this is a true story. If you were here last year and you decided to stick around, right under that disco ball, after the second day of our programming, there was literally a party with Brad Pitt and Kate Moss and a bunch of other people, right where you're sitting. So stay for the full 2 days and just see what comes on this stage and here. You know, everybody has their UN General Assembly story. I hear from many of you. I was just with someone who runs a $1 billion grant portfolio who said he doesn't know whether he loves it or he hates it to come to UN General Assembly every year. Mine this year was standing in the rain, waiting to get into an event, being told by the police, you can't walk this corner. I'm sure you've all experienced that, feeling like a rat in a maze. But I think back to my first UN General Assembly, which was 1996. I was the lowest person in the ranks in the White House press office, working for President Bill Clinton. And I had just one very simple job. I was told to come to the UN General Assembly and get passes for all of the journalists who are traveling with the president to get in. The president was going to sign an important treaty, the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, and they needed to get in with him to document it. I thought this will be simple. I was naive and young, and I went to the powers that be that do media accreditation at the UN, and I gave them the list, and they said, sorry, you're too late. There's simply no way to get press passes for all of these reporters traveling with the president. So then I decided to do, what you should do here. I didn't call my boss, who was a chain-smoking former television producer who would have reamed me out. And I instead spent 2 days doing my best job at UN diplomacy until finally they gave us the press passes and the president made it with the whole entourage of reporters. And I just mentioned that because for those of you who wonder, like the colleague I was just with, why do we do this every year? Why do we come to the UN? Why do we go through the lines and the crowds and the protocol? It's because that diplomacy, as difficult as it is, that multilateral process that happens here every year really matters. It really matters, and maybe more than ever now, when the world feels like it's spinning apart. We need it. Now, there are many gaps. I'm not going to talk to you about all the gaps because you're going to hear them from our stage, and you've heard them all week. There are gaps on climate and on health, on energy and on poverty. There are many gaps. The question is, how do we fill them? And one narrative is that we're going to fill them with a lot of new money. And certainly that's what the Secretary General is calling for. We have a story today for our pro subscribers, which takes you behind the scenes and shows you that, well, the US government is not going to sign up for that, as are many other donors are not going to sign up for a new $500 billion budget. So if it's not money, how do we get there? And the title of these 2 days here at the UN General Assembly on the Devex stage is Refining the Approach. You might call it reimagining the approach or maybe even revolutionizing the approach. But we have to take the tremendous resources we do have as a global development community, as a community of mission-driven professionals, and do more with it. We have to find new ways of closing these gaps. Otherwise, we look forward to 2030, and it's just a depressing story. But there are good news stories, and I know they're here, and I know many of you, and I know your organizations and your work, and you're doing important things that are going to change and move that needle. So we're going to talk about that on stage all week. We're going to talk about the innovation gap, not just the financing gap. And we're even going to talk about something we call at Devex the talent gap. How do we make sure we have the right talent working on these problems? So it is a fantastic opportunity to have all of you here, and it's a real honor to get to lead these many discussions that we're going to have over the coming days. It hopefully shows you a bit about why we do what we do at Devex, why we do our journalism online, and why we do our journalism on stage. Hopefully you'll see something really different besides just the disco ball at this event.